All right, here are 5 ways to guarantee being house poor. Let's roll. Number 1 way to make sure that you're house poor, get a payment that is too freaking big. Look, go ahead, ask for that max approval from the loan officer and go get the biggest possible home that you can buy. We don't want to be looking at starter homes or homes that you can easily rent out later in the future. We want to get the biggest possible house that we can afford so that we are constantly stressed out about our money. If smaller is more affordable, then bigger is less affordable, right? Let's go for the moon. We're not going to compare needs and wants. We're going for granite, we're going for stainless steel, we're going for the great room, we're going for all the things that we really don't need. Second great way to make sure that you're overstressed and that you have way too much house is put down the smallest amount down payment that you possibly can. You don't want to save up a decent down payment because heck, that'll give you a lower interest rate or make you less risky. It's a great way to save thousands and thousands of dollars to put down a large down payment, but we don't want to do that, right? We are trying to over leverage ourselves here. Not to mention that the more that you put down, the lower that payment it is, and that's not what we're shooting for here. Number 3, rack up that debt as high as it possibly can go that you still qualify for a mortgage. Look, you don't want to pay down your credit card bill. Let's go out, buy all this consumer crap that we don't need, go out to the fanciest possible restaurants, put it all on credit, leverage out ourselves to the max so that we're paying interest payments on stuff that we've consumed and is not helping us out. That sounds really smart, right? You're definitely not going to want to set up a debt snowball plan or debt repayment plan because those credit card companies definitely have your best interest at heart, right? It's not like they want you paying interest on that credit card bill for the rest of your life where 90% of the payment is going to interest. Like number 4 here on the tip is you definitely don't want to have an emergency fund, and especially not one specifically dedicated to the house here. So that when you move into this home and something breaks, because it's never gonna have anything break, that you have to put everything either on credit or actually go without heat during the winter. Having no emergency fund is definitely going to set you up to be house poor. Tip number 5 here to guarantee that you are house poor is don't try to budget on one income. Look, I know your wife is working and that you can include that on the max loan approval. Go for that, man. That side hustle that you've been doing and working hard at, you don't want to pay the mortgage off quicker. You want to take that and spend it. It just makes absolutely no sense to try to budget on one income rather than spending every dollar that you possibly make. We don't want to be wise and actually budget on one income and make the purchasing decision on one income. That would be setting us up for success, and that's not what we're looking to do here. Plus, if you were to possibly lose one income, you want to make sure that you're strapped for cash. But Dan, I've already bought a house. I'm not house poor yet. How do I accomplish this? I got you, fam. Let's go over another 5 tips to try to create house poorness. Even though you previously made a smart decision, there's ways around that. Look, definitely don't go online and sell a bunch of crap that's in the garage that you don't need or don't use or have to maintain. It makes absolutely no sense to get rid of all of the stuff that you have and have accumulated that you're not using to pay off those bills. In fact, creating a side hustle where you actually flip stuff at garage sales like Gary Vee would be a terrible idea if you're trying to be house poor. Not to mention, you could use all of that income to pay off your mortgage early, which would be a great way to make sure that you're over leveraged. Another great way would be definitely not go out there and get a second job. Yeah, let's use all of that free time to play video games or go out to eat and get fat. There's no sense in going out there and getting a second job so that you can reduce stress. Another great way to make sure you're over leveraged or house poor is to spend more than you earn. You don't want to go out there and get You Need a Budget book or Dave Ramsey book or use mint.com or any of these budgeting softwares because, hey, we want to just not pay attention to what's coming in our bank account and just spend freely, right? We don't want to track what we're doing. We want to go out there and spend freely without any thought about our future stress levels. 4th way to guarantee being house poor or over leveraged is to not rent out a room. Look, I get it. You have that extra room that you're using for trophies or gaming room or whatever. Don't clear that out. Don't move the desk into your primary bedroom because that's where you sleep and rent that thing out. It's not like you could use an extra $500 or $600 or $700 a month of income anyway. Airbnb, terrible idea. Renting out the room, terrible idea to bring in some extra cash. The last one here seems a little bit drastic, but we definitely don't want to downsize. Just because we're barely floating above water here and making it month to month, definitely doesn't mean we don't want to sell this and actually go get another home that makes financial sense. Real estate works a long time, right? We want to buy a house that we're over leveraged and turn around and sell it in just a few years because there's no cost associated to selling houses, right? Look, I don't know what that guy's talking about. Obviously, all that is terrible advice, and you should follow the exact opposite if you want to be house rich and not over leverage yourself and have too much stress in your life. If you want to have more good advice, follow this next video here.